Listening section directions. The listening section measures your ability to understand conversations and lectures in English. You will hear each conversation and lecture only one time. After each conversation or lecture, you will hear some questions about it. Answer all questions based on what the speakers state or imply. You may take notes while you listen. You may use your notes to help you answer the questions. Most questions have 4 possible answers. In some questions, you will see this icon. This means that you will hear but not see part of the question. Some questions have special directions which appear in a gray box. Most questions are worth 1 point. If a question is worth more than 1 point, special directions will indicate how many points you can receive. You have approximately 40 minutes to complete the listening section. This includes the time for listening to the conversations and lectures and for answering the questions. Questions 1 through 5. Listen to part of a conversation between 2 students.
Oh, hi. It's good to see you. What's happening?
I'm busy with my classes. The quarter's going by really quickly. How about you? What have you been up to?
Busy with school and work. Hey, what are you taking spring quarter?
Literature, sociology, botany, and I'm hoping to do something in the arts, maybe some sort of work experience or internship.
No kidding. I didn't know you were artistic. What do you have in mind?
Well, there's this theater group I just found out about in Chester. I went to a couple of their plays. They're an interesting company. They perform a lot of new works, and they also do older plays that aren't very well known. And, well, I'm really impressed and would love to work with them in some way.
No kidding. I didn't know you were into theater. Do you act?
Not really. I took drama in high school, but I was awful on stage. No, it's not acting that interests me as much as all the other stuff.
Like what? Directing? Lighting?
All of it, actually. This theater I told you about, they have the best sets. I'd like to build sets, or make costumes, find props, I don't know, even work in the office. It's the whole atmosphere of theater that I find exciting.
It sounds like you need to be a theater intern.
But as far as that goes, my problem is I don't know anything about setting it up.
What? The internship?
Yeah.
Do you know anyone who works there?
No, I only found out about it because I went to a couple of plays.
Better go see your advisor about this. Doesn't the advising department post a list of internships that are available?
Yeah, there's a list. I already checked it and there was nothing in theater. But I'll talk to Sherry, of course. She's my advisor.
You know what you could do? When I had to do an observation last year for my psychology class, we had to observe a work group for 2 weeks. What I did, how I got started, was I picked out a couple of law firms and then just sent formal letters of introduction. I told them I was a student and had to do a report for one of my classes and asked if I could meet with them to arrange an observation at their workplace.
Oh, really? And what happened?
I said I'd call them, and the first firm I called said I could do it there.
Wow! You make it sound so easy. I wonder if that'd work with the theater.
It's worth a try, isn't it?
It's worth a try. Hey, I'm glad I ran into you.
Number 1. What are the students mainly discussing? Number 3. What is the woman's opinion of her own acting ability? Number 4. Why does the man say this?
Like what? Directing, lighting?
Questions 6 through 10. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor.
Hi, Professor Reynolds.
Oh, hi, Jeff. I just read your note. You wanted to talk about something?
Yeah, just an idea I have. I've been thinking, I was reading about what's been going on with those houses on Fox Point.
You mean the slide?
Yeah, that's right. The paper said a few days ago there was only one house that was affected, but this morning there was another article saying there were lots more houses involved than they previously thought. Maybe as many as 15 or 20 homes. A couple of houses have big cracks in the foundation.
I read the article, too. It seems like nothing but bad news for the homeowners.
Yeah, my old boss lives out there on Fox Point. I don't know if his house is one that's affected. Anyway, I was sort of thinking I could write a paper on it. I remember how in your Intro to Geology course we studied gravity movements. I thought maybe the slide on Fox Point was a case of subsidence. When the Earth sinks because there's a weakening of support, I was thinking this might be an example of settlement.
Settlement happens from the more or less gradual compacting of underlying material. For example, when wet soil at the surface dries and shrinks and creates a depression. It can also happen when frozen ground melts.
In class, you talked about the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yes, the settlement that's caused the Tower of Pisa to lean is due to the failure of a clay layer beneath it. Engineers have been working on it for decades, but still haven't been able to stop the process.
There was another kind of settlement you talked about, when groundwater's removed.
Yes, that's what happened in the San Joaquin Valley in California. Part of the valley floor sank 30 feet because of the removal of groundwater for irrigation. But the problem on Fox Point may not be subsidence at all. This probably has more to do with the slope and with the amount of rain we've been having lately.
So it's just a regular old mudslide, not like the Leaning Tower?
It's probably not like the Leaning Tower.
The article did say the houses were on a slope, but it's only slight. It's not steep at all.
Mudslides are most common on intermediate slopes, 27 to 45 degrees, because these slopes are gentle enough for sediment to accumulate and steep enough for sliding. One suggestion I have is to take a look at the county's website. There's a page on the geology of the region. This area has a history of slides. There was one on Johnson Island about 10, 12 years ago.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Maybe there's a connection.
Possibly. It's an idea to work on.
Well, this gives me a place to start. Thanks, Professor Reynolds. I appreciate your input.
Number 6. Why does the student go to see the professor? Number 8. Why does the student say this?
In class, you talked about the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Number 9. According to the professor, where are mudslides most common? Number 10. What will the man probably include in his research? Questions 11 through 16. Listen to part of a discussion in a botany class. The class is talking about flowers.
In a perfect idealized flower, its 4 organs are arranged in 4 whorls, all attached to the receptacle at the end of the stem. Before we go on, let's quickly go over the 4 parts of the flower. First, let's start from the outside and work in. Which organ is on the outside, closest to the stem?
The sepal. That's the part that kind of looks like a leaf because it's usually green. The sepal protects the flower bud before it opens up.
Right. Then what comes next?
The petals, the colorful part of the flower. It's the petals that make the flower attractive to insects and birds, and people too.
Right. And inside the petal layers we have...
The flower's reproductive parts, the stamens and carpels.
That's right. So we have the 4 parts of a flower: sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels. Now, during the millions of years in the history of flowering plants, numerous variations evolved. In certain flowers, 1 or more of the 4 basic floral organs, sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels, have been eliminated. Plant biologists distinguish between complete flowers, those with all 4 organs, and incomplete flowers, those lacking 1 or more of the 4 floral parts. For example, most grasses have incomplete flowers that lack petals. There are many variations in the size, shape, and color of flowers. One important element in plant classification is the arrangement of flowers on their stalks. The large composite family, for example, which includes asters, daisies, and sunflowers, have flower heads that form a central disc. What appears to be a single flower is actually a collection of hundreds of flowers. The central disc consists of tiny, complete flowers. And what appear to be petals surrounding the central disc are actually imperfect flowers called ray flowers.
I'm not sure I got that. Could you say that again?
Sure. The flower head, the center part of the plant, actually consists of many tiny, tightly packed, complete flowers that stand upright on a flat disc. The whole arrangement looks like a single symmetrical flower, but it's actually a collection of hundreds of separate flowers. The petals, what look like petals, are actually larger flowers called rays that extend from the rim of the disc. Does that help?
Yeah, I guess so. What you're saying is a single sunflower is really hundreds of flowers put together.
That's right. This will make more sense in the lab this afternoon. So, in the composite family, there are about 19,000 different species worldwide. Many are grown as ornamentals: cosmos, zinnia, dahlia, marigold, and aster. Probably the most recognized composite flower is the English daisy. The daisy was introduced from Europe and now is a wildflower found on lawns, in fields, and at roadsides throughout North America. The name of the daisy has an interesting origin. The word daisy means day's eye and comes from an older Anglo-Saxon word. The English daisy folds up his rays at night and unfolds them again at dawn, the eye of the day, or day's eye. Several cultivated varieties of English daisy are popular as edging plants or in rock gardens. The English daisy comes in lots of colors: rose, lavender, pink, and white. It has a long bloom time from April to September. The plants are compact and attractive, with flower heads up to 2 inches across. In the lab, we'll be looking at some different varieties of the daisy, and you'll see for yourself why they're so popular.
Number 11. What aspects of flowers does the class mainly discuss?